Hey guys, how you doing? This is Dan with Dan's 30-foot dory build. Today was an interesting day. I completed the entire 30-foot dory in fiberglass now. I've got a total of 2 layers of 6-ounce cloth. And what I had to do today to finish this job up, and I'll try to do this without tripping over the debris in my yard here. And this is the starboard side, and right from that seam here where the glass is there all the way to the front is now done. This was the last section. From here all the way to here, I couldn't get that glass when I was doing the whole boat. The reason for that is I ran out of time. I was out here for 8 hours and I got everything else covered in 2 layers of glass except for this area here, the last 10 feet. So I went out today and purchased another 10 feet, and the lower layer, the first glass layer I laid in here, was in pieces. I think I went one, and then I put one here, and then I pieced it in here so I wouldn't waste any of the fiberglass. I had some larger pieces left over. And then what I did is I went over with the full piece, 60-inch by 10 feet long, and I went from here where I left off all the way to the bow is all done. Now, yes, I sanded it all out and everything, and I know I'm not going to get a chemical bond, but this end of the boat is usually out of the water, so I am not terribly worried about it too much. This side will get totally sanded out. I am extremely surprised actually how smooth this whole thing came out. My biggest headaches right now, I'll show you here. There's a seam here. This is nothing. This will come right out. There's a little bump here. Everything in between the seam lines, like all this, came out really good, really good. And here's the seam line. Again, those are my worst enemies. Now I had to cut the material here and there because it just wouldn't go down. So I got patches like this. Okay, so obviously here I've got 1, 2, 3, I got 4 levels of matte and resin going on here. This will be sanded out, or at least down to this level, and this area in here will, this area in here will be the same thickness as the rest of the boat. But this is just the biggest headache I got are all the seams. A real quick sanding over I did with the 50. You can see these little bumps here. This is resin. This is resin. There's another patch here. This will have to get sanded out because I had to cut this open here. It folded on itself and it just couldn't get it out. And there's a few more bumps down the side here. Here's another overlap. There's actually 2 layers of overlap here, okay? This piece here actually ran to here. Then I went over with the first piece and the second piece fell short, which is fine. No problem. It's working out. Over here, and there we go, almost tripped. You can see these here are little bumps of fiberglass. They'll send out real fast. Now, here's a corner here. This corner is the same as the other corner I'm about to show you. This corner here, these are all the folds. Now, I got a big patch in here to fill in here because this piece fell short on an angle this way, and here, this fell here. So then I had a big hole right here running down to the bottom. So I just threw on 2 patches here, but you see, I went way out. I went all the way over here with it. I didn't have to do that. I should have trimmed it, you know, but I was thinking, let's get it on before the fiberglass, the resin kicks. Okay, so all the white spots there were high spots. They're not all high spots anymore. There's a few high spots, but most of that is sanded flush. You can still see the lines in it. That's the thing about the fiberglass. If you get a run in it and you don't catch it, you can do anything you want in the world. You're not going to get rid of that run. It's always going to be seen there, even though it's smooth and you glass over it, okay? So I went in today when I bought that 10 feet of glass and I asked more questions. So I says, I still have a rough surface here. This is perfectly smooth here, except you can still feel the grain in the fiberglass. So I went in to find out and asked them if I'm supposed to use filler for this. And what they told me is, no, you just keep on putting another layer of fiberglass, resin over it, and it'll slowly build up. So that's what I was doing. So over in the front over here, on the port side, you can see where I started my first run of glass. Surprisingly enough, this is almost smooth. Look, listen to this. The glass is almost invisible here. A second coat and this will be good enough. And do a very light sanding. Look at that. This is just 2 coats. I didn't think it would fill that quickly, but it did. Now, I have come to terms with the reality that this boat is not going to be getting a pristine finish. There, you will be able to see some of the muck underneath when I am done. Just no way about it. Just the way it's going to have to be. I'm not going to sand like a crazy man and try to get every single little bump out of it, even though I would like to. See that here? How shiny it is? Look at that. Look at that right here. See that? It just shines. It's like smooth right here. This filled in really nice. And all I was doing in this section here was just unloading my roller and using up the rest of the epoxy I had when I did the other side, the port side at the bow. So this fills up really good. Now, once they educated me on what the procedure was to get that nice shiny finish that guys are using to keep their boats looking like wood finish, right? They're not painting them. My intention was always to paint this boat. So I could live with a few little doodads here and there along the way. That's all there is to it. But I am making sure, I am definitely making sure that she's sealed up. I will be putting strips along here just to beef these corners up. I have some 3-inch wide material, and the edges on that material are all closed so it doesn't fray. Coming up to the top here, let me get my butt up here without killing myself. There we go. This came out really nice too. I mean, oh, there she goes, going after birds. Ruby. So I reinforce, now this is the I reinforced the front end on this. I got about 5 layers of material right here, going back to about here, because this part here is slightly bent upwards, no, downwards. So if you come into the shoreline, you know, that's the first part of the boat that's going to touch, right? So I beefed that up a bit. Now, walking on top of this, this is actually the first time I've walked up here since I finished this job. It's nice. I think a couple of layers of resin rolled out on it. I got a few little pucks here, there. So I got one there. I got one right about there where my foot is. I got one here, and I got one here. See, I've got about 6 or 7 of them up here. I got one nasty one here somewhere. Forget where. Oh, there it is, right here. Okay, so there's one in front of my foot there. It didn't adhere. I don't know what it came up for. I got a couple of them here. 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to cut those out with an X-Acto knife, fill them up with resin, and drop 2 patches on that. Other than that, that's about it. And I may have the other odd one I may have missed. Did I already show you this one here? Blisters, I don't know. But this will clean up real fast. Yeah, so she's almost there. Now I'm hoping, I'm going to leave it at 2 layers of 6 ounce glass. I was thinking of getting another layer on the bottom, but to be honest with you, that would kind of break my budget, because that would probably cost me another $300, maybe $250 Canadian. Sorry, going down, hang on. Everybody's going for the bumpy ride. So I think I also picked up two cans of primer. Now they gave me 2 quarts. Those of you that are American will obviously know what I'm talking about. Some of those younger Canadians watching this might not be too sure what a quart is. I do not use the metric system. They implemented it here so many years ago, and I have no use for it. So anyway, as we go. So I purchased 2 quarts of primer, and what they told me is, I looked at them and I says, I got a 30-foot boat. Are these 2 quarts gonna do it? And he says, well, here, why don't you just start with 2 quarts? I'm gonna turn you around here, guys. Nope, can't turn you around. Sorry, I won't be able to see them. So I'm using the front of my camera today, so I can only see what I don't want to flip it around in case I only give you my ear. So this is just an update, a real quick update on the fiberglass. The fiberglass is all done, both sides. I still have to sand out this side. My boss at work was good enough to give me Fridays off, all the Fridays in June and July. We've been getting so much rain here. I really appreciate the fact that he allowed me to do this instead of taking 2 weeks straight off, because I'll tell you what, it wouldn't have worked. We've gotten so much rain, it's just incredible. So I'm sneaking out here in between rainfalls and getting more work done. Now, it doesn't usually rain that much here, but I got, it's just been raining, and that's all there is to it. And I'll come out here for a couple of hours. I'll focus on a certain area, and then the clouds come back, the weather starts to turn, and yeah, I just run back into the house and no more boat building. Now, here's something that a lot of people may not know, because I found this out by accident watching a YouTuber. I'm going to call him a techno guy, very technical, uses all big words. But what he was showing the other night when I was looking at it, what the effect is of fiberglass over wood, and what the effect is with fiberglass over foam. So as he's demonstrating, it was one thing I didn't know. He mentioned, he says, when you fiberglass something and it gets, it cures, right? It's now not wet anymore. It's solid like this. Now, he said, one thing that really got to me, he said, just don't start sanding the finish on this when you're done. He says, wash it down with water. Now, he says what the water does is take off a film that's left behind on top of the glass. I didn't know that, okay? So, before I started working, I washed down the boat with water, no chemicals, no soap, just water. And I took a rag, which is down there, and I just washed it with the rag back and forth all around the boat. And he says, if you don't wash the glass before you start sanding, all you're doing is taking that film and you're sanding it into your finish. And what that does is, you go to glass over it, you've got all this, I don't know what it is, this film is mixed into your sanding job, and when you go to glass, it doesn't adhere quite as well as it should if you wash it first. So you got to wash it in between coats, let it dry, or dry it. Then you can come in and sand it, and then put another layer of glass on if you have to, or anything, even primer. If you're planning to epoxy paint it, wash the glass off before you do anything, because you're going to get that little film on there, and it's going to reduce the holding strength of your product. I did not know that. That's what he said, and I wasn't going to argue with him. If it makes for a better adhesive, wash your fiberglass hull out, or whatever you're making out of fiberglass. Wash it before you sand it. Okay. Let's see what else. Hey, listen, I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to crawl underneath the boat and show you what it looks like from underneath. Now, this is going to be really weird, okay? because it might be upside down. So hang on, I'm just going to go down here. Not going to put my hand in the video here. Okay, we're going down. Hang on. Okay. Okay, check this out. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, here comes the beast. I'm on the ground. I'm at ground level. Go sit down. Oh my God. Okay, good girl. Oh, I'm trying to videotape here. Good girl. Oh, you're the best. Oh, you're the best in the world. Yeah. Can you get out of the way now? I'm not redoing this video. Get out of here. So look, this is huge down here. Looking at it from here, this boat is huge. Can you get out of the video? A real movie star here. So look at that. Thank you. All the way down to the front there. Now, I don't know if the video really gives you an idea how long, how far this is, but from here, we're looking at about 20 feet. From where the camera is to the bow, this is about 20 feet here. And then from here back's the other 10. You see that? Isn't that something weird? I came under here and I'm looking at I'm so used to seeing it upside down now. I crawled under here and I realized how big this boat is. I put little braces here. They kept on letting go on me. You see that brace right there? I put braces on every single one of them. Because one pulled out on me when I was installing the rib. And I thought to myself, I can't have that happening. So I glued and screwed all these blocks in here. Now that's 3/4 inch plywood, leftover plywood from the sheeting. But look at that. I also have a raised floor in here. I don't know if I explained that to you. One of my videos, I mentioned it. But I got a 9-inch raised floor in here. I'm going to run all my tubes inside here and some flotation perhaps. See that? Yeah, now this thing is 8 feet wide. This is, there's going to be a lot of room in here. Look at that. As you can see here too, my overhang, I got anywhere from nothing to about 1.5 inches. All this has to be cut down to here. And then I'm going to put another rail inside and then we're going to cap this. Yeah. Look at that. Pretty big, I'm telling you, it's huge. There's all the 2x4s I used on the bottom. So my bottom's 1.5 inches thick. Sorry, there we go. Now let's see if I can get you all the way around. There we go. So I definitely have work to do under here when it comes time. And I think I will be buying another roll of poly that's a wider roll, maybe 10 feet wide. And I will have to, okay, we're going up. I will have to build a shelter to keep the rain out of the inside of the boat when that time comes. Whoa. Sorry, I'm tripping all over this tarp here. It's all over the place. See that? I don't want to move it. It's just too much tarp to move. So what I'm waiting for now is I'm waiting for the rain to come. Because what the rain's going to do for me is clean the bottom. I didn't clean the bottom. It's going to rinse this whole boat off for me if it rains. So I got 4 days here to work on this, or at least in part. This here, you see, here we go again. Look at that. That just did not want to stick. I don't know why. So I cut it. I had another one here somewhere. But this is dry enough to cut now. See the uneven? You see that's still longer than it has to be here. So I'm really happy. It's a big job, but I'm really happy with it so far. I'm really happy. I mean, I think once the primer goes on, we're going to really see where we stand here. But I feel that we're really close. I just may get this totally primed and ready to roll by the fall, the end of the fall. I will keep it upside down like this until next spring. And that'll give me all winter to collect some more materials for the cabin I want to build on. I want to build a cabin on this, maybe 2/3 or halfway down, for privacy and those other reasons. So this boat here is rated for 9,500 pounds before you get in trouble. So I think I'm going to be sitting at about a 4,500 pound mark by the time I get the cabin built. That's a guess. The boat sitting here like this, all done in fiberglass, 2 layers, plywood, framing, is estimated to be weighing in at approximately 2,800 pounds before you do anything with it. So according to the plans from Jeff Spire International. Yeah. So what you're looking at is 2,800 pounds here. Nothing in it but the framing, plywood, and fully fiberglass. Fantastic. I feel so good about this. Now when you're sanding and you're prepping to finish it, it's a really good feeling knowing that you're very close. Once I get the others and the bottom and the other side is patched and sanded, I mean, the only thing left is to try. I still got, what did I use so far? I used 4 gallons. All this boat has taken me 4 gallons of epoxy resin. 4 gallons, that's what I said. I was still surprised too. 4 gallons. I was debating if I should turn around and put extra layers of glass resin over the existing finish, but he said if you want to get out some of these matte ridges, the only way to do that is to roll on a couple of layers of resin. I have enough to do that. And now I did, like I said, I was working the other side. I overmixed epoxy. I knew I was going to be able to use it somewhere, so I rolled out the boat here. Now look at that shine. Okay, that's the first layer of buildup. Okay, I can still see the matte a little bit, but look at that. Okay, so once the whole boat is done with 2 layers of glass to try to get some of that fiberglass mesh to disappear, I've bought the primer. He gave me 2 quarts, like I was saying, and 2 quarts, he says, should do it. And if it doesn't, always come back in for another quart. So I picked up 2 quarts today, and we're going to see how that goes. Maybe by the end of this weekend. Today is Thursday, the 30th. So I'll try to post another video if I get that far. Now I'll post another video when I completely resin out the whole exterior one more time, like to finish it, and just before I go to actually put the primer on. And I might just make a video. I'll put the camera, set it up on the ladder like I usually do, and I'll just start priming it. So I'll give you a little bit of, this is how you prime my boat. Okay, now remember, these video guys and ladies are not to tell you how to build a boat. This is what I'm doing to show you how I'm building the boat according to the plans by Jeff Spira. The only thing different I did here, according to his recommendations on his plans, is like the sun's out. Oh, there we go. I used a cedar for all the frames. I didn't use pine 2x4s. I used cedar. So I spent a little bit more money on cedar. Now, I also like to note the fact that all the wood on this boat, except for several pieces of 2x6 down there, by 10s, and 2x4s, a couple of pieces, not much, were actually bought at the new rate, where the plywood and the 2x4s have gone through the roof. A 2x4 right now is running $9 Canadian. It hasn't come down a whole bunch, but they were pretty well, I think $10, $11 a piece when things were going crazy. So I bought a sheet of this. I bought 14 sheets of 18 mil, just a hair larger than 3/4 inch, for $41 a piece. That's Baltic birch. And the 2x4 is on the top. Half the bottom of the boat I had in the structure that I had built originally over the boat to keep the weather off while I was trying to assemble it. And I used, unfortunately, I didn't want to waste nothing, so I had, I'd say about almost a 2x8 sheet of Baltic birch left over in pieces. So I cleaned them all up and I used them here on the back corner. Okay, I didn't want to waste the plywood. But the rest of it is, yeah, 2x6, 2x4. Somebody turned around and said, well, how about the harmonics? Well, that was already beyond me, and so I kind of went, well, you got me there. What the hell is harmonics? Supposedly when the boat is moving through the water, the pounding of the water underneath the boat causes a vibration, a harmonic vibration, and it works its way past the boat and hits the transom here, and that's why you get a lot of transom, he says, when they start to crack down the sides. So you try to keep the harmonics down. Well, I don't know how fast you got to be moving to create that kind of damage. I wasn't too worried about it, but it's nice to know a little bit more about boat stuff, right? Like harmonics. I would have never thought of that. So he obviously knows a fair bit about what he's talking about. So we were talking back and forth, and yeah, okay. I know I'm going to have a lot of friction because it is a flat bottom boat. But other than that, once again, I'm going to go back to the reality is how fast am I going to really be going with this? I mean, some guys are going 50, 60 miles an hour. I ain't going to go that fast. I just don't believe I'll be going that fast. I mean, if I can get 25 out of this, maybe 30, I'd be happy. But it's just a big heavy cruiser. You know, I'm not looking to cross the channel or anything. So anyway, just to sum things up here, she is all totally fiberglassed. The port side here is sanded out, and I will be putting more coats of glass on it to bring out the finish a little bit better, clean it up so it looks better when it's painted. The bottom has to be roughly sanded out, and a couple of more rolls, put more glass on it too. And I'll keep you informed what's going on. So this is sorry about that, there we go again. How you doing? This is Dan's 30-foot dory build. I'd like to thank my subscribers again for hanging in there, making comments, and most of the comments were extremely positive, very helpful. Allowed me to think about what I was doing, implement some of it. Brian suggests putting a keel down the center to help stability and steering. Sorry, Brian, I've decided not to do that. They seem to be working just flat bottom, and I'm going to give it a shot. Other than that, this is Dan with Dan's 30-foot dory build. Take care, and you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Thank you.